he screams and tears those stitches out.
Oof,
and just rips
scene.
up his lips. Number 2, Needle Pit. Good Lord. I mean, so many moments of that Needle Pit had me reeling. And just every time when she sees it, her horror. When she's pushed in, her reaction. As she starts to pull them out, the time is there. She just starts flailing in there. And then when she gets out, pulling them out, just everything about the Needle Pit. Holy Jesus. Number 1, when Jigsaw gets up at the end of part 1.
Yeah, game over.
And they're playing that music that we've heard throughout the whole franchise, throughout that whole first movie. But when they are playing that string symphonic as deeply and strongly of the theme music as ever in that movie, as he is getting up, even now, I'm just like, whoa. And that is just powerful.
Yeah.
Absolutely my 3. If I'm picking characters,
game over.
I remember liking Jill a lot. I mean, I can't give a whole lot here. I remember liking Jill a lot. I think Gordon, mostly thinking of the first movie, just that character. And of course, the wonderful execution by Cary Elwes, but very good character, very strong character. Amanda too, but not so much in the first movie. She didn't have a whole lot in the first movie. And maybe Jill.
Yeah.
Maybe Jill. Not so much at the end. But her little bits in the 4 to 6 arc where she's referring to her strained relationship with her husband, pretty good. And then it turns out like it was all like a game. But I thought that her character was pretty intriguing.
Cool.
But I can't reach far or deep. I have a character question, Mark.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I take Jill out. Take Jill out, Danny Glover. I'm sorry.
Okay, great.
And I have a question about Danny Glover. And it's what I was getting at earlier, and then I lost track because I just started talking about him being too old for this 17 years before Saw as a cop. That guy has been a cop for a long time. Do you feel that they cast Chris Rock to almost echo or pull a Force Awakens, if you will, where you're kind of replaying this serious cop role, also happens to be black? Like, are they echoing that or no?
So this movie got made because Chris Rock was a huge fan of the Saw franchise, and he went to Lionsgate and said, "I love the Saw franchise. Let's make one." And they went, "Sure, you can." And then he also produced it, and then he got his Spiral movie.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
and now, the writing and execution of the character?
The character is completely different.
Okay.
Completely different.
Okay.
Completely different. And that's why I like it. You know what's interesting? I didn't go in there thinking I was going to watch a Saw movie. I don't know. You said that people were expecting something else, but I like what I got. I don't think there's any moments that are particularly super memorable, but as far as a popcorn horror film goes, it's fine. It's the equivalent of a summer blockbuster popcorn movie, but it's a horror movie on a tiny budget.
Okay, I have a follow-up Chris Rock question. So on social media, and this is something that I don't always take a lot of stock in this, because I think sometimes people see someone play characters all the time, and they just cannot allow themselves to see someone do something different.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a lot of criticism of Chris Rock in this movie, but criticism honestly felt to me like they just failed to see to be willing to believe Chris Rock can be in a serious movie, as opposed to saying that his performance wasn't on point. But people I noticed many people complaining about Chris Rock, and I didn't see many people complimenting Chris Rock. Did you appreciate his performance? Did he bring good gravity to it?
He's the best part of Spiral.
Okay.
He's interesting.
Cool. I'm happy to hear that.
It's a weird. I think I'm telling you, man, I think expectations kill movies sometimes. When I saw that Chris Rock was going to be in Spiral, I didn't go, "Oh, he can't do it." I thought, this is going to be fun.
Oh, you see, I like that. I like that. Like, I like that Danny McBride was involved in Halloween. Like, that excites me.
Like, Danny McBride and Alien Covenant. I was like, "Oh, that's
right.
funky. Like,
Absolutely.
Give me that."
Yes.
And Chris Rock, right? I like the arc of his character. the more I think about the character, the more I like him. It's Chris Rock doing something different in a movie franchise that he loves. I think I thought people would be more turned off by the puppets and the voice of everything. Like the voice is from the
Because it's
videos.
different now, right?
Yeah. So I don't want to say anything, but I thought people would be turned off by that, but it seems like an odd attack. Like, but I have noticed that Saw fans are very outspoken, and if you look at their scores online, just audience scores, they're very high. But I also looked on Rotten Tomatoes, and Spiral right now on audience score is 75% on Rotten Tomatoes audience score, and I think that's fair. Now, will it? It's not going to cause the. I mean, Saw was a sensation in 2004. It was a tiny $1 million movie that just blew people away.
That blows my mind.
Yeah,
hearing that.
And this movie, this movie, it just makes me happy. Whenever you pull up the Saw franchise on Rotten Tomatoes, my "How good are the Saw movies when a Saw is actually involved" article is like right there with it. It just makes me happy to see it because it's such a weird article. But I remember I was in Pennsylvania talking about that on the phone outside of a house. But they, I don't. It's just now. Okay, it won't hit the heights of Saw because Saw's been done. I mean, Saw was 17 years ago, so you can't ever recreate that. But I think this movie, it all makes sense to me. That's what makes sense. The movie, when you think about it later on, to me, it makes sense. But if you look at the original Saw movie, the traps that they are setting are thousands of dollars of welding, transportation, moving. I mean, Hoffman renovates the entire house from Saw 2. So the amount of resources that these people have, they're spectacular. And it's quite... There's like smushing rooms with glass coffins. So
Can you imagine the electrical like piston work, like the machinery work it would take for that? Because it's not like you just have two walls that magically collapse on one another. It's just like in a building where like the 11th floor actually has like a gap between the 11th and the 12th floor that's bigger than a whole floor because it's just the engineering floor.
Yep.
Kind of thing in like a 20-story building.
I don't know. So the traps make sense to me. The what happens in it makes sense to me. Sam Jackson's good. I don't understand it. I don't understand the why people wouldn't like Chris Rock. He's doing something different. I like it, and he's a fan. Chris Rock is a fan. You know what's weird? They're going after Rock, but he's a fan of the franchise. He's the reason there's another Saw movie. So I don't know.
If I might have known that at some point, but I've long forgotten it.
So
if I did.
That's kind of what I was thinking about, but I dig it. And let's do something. I have something real fun for it. Oh no, what do you got? You do it.
Well, I have a Spiral question, a general Spiral question. So I haven't seen it, but of course I've seen almost all the Saw movies multiple times. If you were to average it, I probably saw the average Saw movie before Spiral 3 times, right? So I'm quite familiar with the franchise. So when I go see Spiral, even if they're not fresh, I'm going to be fine. And it's probably every bit as distant, as we discussed, as like Jigsaw was, or even more so, right, than Jigsaw was from the predecessing franchise installments. But a lot of our listeners, they might be in their 20s, and they might not have seen Saw 1 through 8, if I'm going to call Jigsaw Saw 8. How familiar, if at all, do you need to be with Saw to see Spiral and enjoy it? Do you just need to have happened to have seen a couple Saw movies and you just know that Jigsaw is the killer and he sets up death traps and you're kind of good to go? Would that be fair?
It's a great question because, I mean, it came out in 2004, so, but I mean, I guess if you're 18 years old now, you weren't watching that movie if you're going to go watch Spiral. So I guess we can't assume that people have watched them. I think this movie, I don't know if I never even thought about that while watching it.
Like if people were just, because people know, even if they never saw a Saw movie, a lot of people just know Jigsaw creates death traps.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So they bring up Jigsaw. Oh, this could be a Jigsaw. But it's, maybe not. But see, I don't
Can
think
you
so.
watch this as a standalone if you never even knew the Saw movies existed and not be clearly missing something when you watch it?
I
Do you
think
think?
I think you can.
That's
really,
good to know. Like, because it makes me think of like approaching this movie with someone who hasn't seen Saw movies, for example, or
Now, Spiral though, I wouldn't put it in my top 200 horror films of all time, but I watched it and enjoyed it. Megan watched it. Megan liked it more than the other Saw movies that we watched. So I mean, it's
she liked it more than all the other Saw movies.
well, I mean, yeah, I think so.
Wow.
I mean, Chris Rock. I mean, it's just different, and it's just I don't even think the kills are as great in Spiral. But you know what's interesting, John? You know how many movies we watch that we just forget? Spiral's lingered with me.
I got you.
Spiral has stuck with me. It it doesn't like elicit me being very happy or sad, but when I think about it, I'm like, huh, I enjoyed watching that. Yeah, it was I mean, that's all I can say. It satisfied my.
Like,
but also, I was so mired in the Saw muck. Like I don't like 3. I don't like 4 that much. I'm not a fan of Jigsaw. So
and I'm putting 4 at the bottom.
yeah, and so when I watched all those, and then I saw Spiral and it was different, and it was a little bit more. It was just different. I think I just liked it because I was kind of out of. And also, I mean, the first Saw movies, with the exception of Final Chapter, looked like they were filmed on like baking sheets. I mean, they are like gritty and they're little grit masters. It was what I liked about Spiral. Everyone's covered in sweat. It's not a super clean film. There is a sheen to it. I liked Boosman was back. I mean, Boosman knows the Saw world. Did 2 through 4. So yeah, I don't know. I liked it. I keep saying the same thing, but I want to do something real quick. I was thinking about just doing a Saw movie only draft, but this is what we're gonna do: Saw, Blade, Hatchet, and Machete. We are gonna do a draft, 4 movies each, featuring the Blade, Hatchet, Machete, and Saw franchises. The one word, weapon franchises, I guess, that you could cut in material. Things you can cut people with. Franchises with one word. So I'll let you have first pick.
So we're just picking one of the movies from each of those franchises.
You could do all the movies from Saw if you want.
Okay,
I'm
gonna take Hatchet 1. Hatchet Part 1.
All right.
Because it was the best Hatchet movie, by the way.
Oh. All right, so I'll take Machete, because he does not text.
Because he does not text?
Yeah. Machete don't text.
So I've seen none of those movies.
Oh, I love Machete. I love both
I've
of them.
seen all of the movies of the other franchises, right?
Machete
but
don't text.
Okay, so you have Machete Part 1, and I'm taking Hatchet Part 1. I'm going to take Blade 2.
Oh, you know what's funny? I knew you were gonna say I'll take Blade 1 then.
Blade 1?
Yeah. I knew you were gonna say a Blade. I love it.
Well, I'm kind of backing off on the Saw because there are a couple Saw movies that I can pick from that more readily, if you will. Saw 6. No, yeah, Saw 6.
Whoa,
Saw 6.
I like that.
Saw 6. Going deep into a franchise. Everyone thought this was all going to be 1s and 2s.
Oh man.
No.
Oh wait. All right. So I just have 1s. So I got to go a little saucy here. Let's see which.
You could pick Saw 1. You could go. You could have a hat trick.
I don't know, man. That's all right. I'll take Saw 1.
I mean, you see, you fell into my trap. You were given a choice and you failed.
Are you gonna take? I know what you're gonna take. Can I?
You?
Yeah. Can I write it down?
You write it down. You pull a Johnny Carson. None of our listeners know the Johnny Carson thing where he puts the thing to his head.
I might be wrong
with the Swami hat and he predicts something.
But I'm taking a guess here, and I think I might be able to be right here. So I'm gonna write it down. All right. I think I know what you're gonna do. I think I know.
Okay, I have 2 things in my head. So if I don't pick the one that you picked, I'll tell you what my second choice was.
All right.
I'm gonna pick Blade 3. You got it.
I got it. I knew it.
And what? And why did you know?
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, of course you knew. It was a fun movie. I was just talking to my coworker in the entomology lab like last week about how much we liked Blade 3, even though it really wasn't like such a great like movie overall in many ways, but it was still a great movie in many ways. You know what I mean? It's like it's easy to pick on, but it was also like it was very, very, very satisfying.
I'm gonna take Saw 2 to finish out because of the needle pit.
Okay.
So you have Hatchet, Blade 2, Saw 6,